This is Katrin with Disability Rights New York. Welcome to our podcast, Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned. We are here to bring you information on the most relevant topics regarding disability rights and advocacy. Today, we welcome David Wantuk, the Community Engagement Specialist at Deaf Access Services, an affiliate of People Inc., otherwise known as DAS. We are going to discuss the mission of the organization, the services it provides, and current projects and events. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here today.
David, let's start by you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I have a deaf family. I'm deaf myself. My brother, my parents, my wife's parents, her family. I had pretty much like 27 deaf members in the family myself. And I take great pride in that because having a deaf member, at least one or two, it's already a great thing to have. And for me to have 27, to be able to have that full-on communication when we have family gatherings or party events, it's nice to have someone there who can sign ASL fully and be able to understand a conversation at all times.
That's fantastic. That's like having your own little village wherever you go. I also have a big family, so I understand having 29, 27 people that you all are able to tell the same stories, have the same jokes. It's a big deal. So that's great to hear. So let's talk about DAS and how it originated and why was it created?
Well, DAS was actually established in 1983. With it being established in 1983, it was a group of volunteer deaf community members setting it up as something that was needed for the accessibility accommodation for the community. So with that being set up, it was known as Deaf Adult Services. Over the years of providing different resources and being the only nonprofit organization that provides for the deaf, hard of hearing, and people with hearing losses in Western New York, the 8 counties, we were able to change the name to Deaf Access Services, with people asking, adult services, you only provide the services to adults. That's not actually the fact. We actually provide services from infants all the way up until seniors. And a lot of them involve the accommodation and advocacy services too.
And so, about how old were you when you got involved with us, and what are you doing with it now?
I've been involved with the advocacy my whole life. Being a deaf person, we face barriers daily. So we have to learn how to advocate ourselves for the betterment of society and for others as well. But personally, being involved with Deaf Access Services, I was fortunate to join the team approximately a little more over 2 years ago. So being involved with the Community Engagement Specialist and the ASL program, we were able to reach out to get more people to be aware of Deaf Access Services and doing community training and making sure they understand any updates and the accommodation meet the ADA requirement and the law, especially for the deaf and hard of hearing within the community.
And so you just talked about a couple of things that they do as far as advocacy. Talk about some other services that are provided, and overall, the organizational goals. How do they work together for the community?
Okay. Well, our goal is we actually try to respond to the interests of the deaf and hard of hearing individual by promoting communication access. That's key. Awareness and opportunity for the community itself. With that, we envision the community where all people have potential of accomplishing something. The equality, the empowerment, the inclusion, all of those, they lead live to many possibilities. So with that, we have Access VR. SSVR is a program where we have youth transition where they're getting ready for either college or the working world. And then we also have captioning services where we would get in videos and we try to caption all of the video so it's accessible for those with hearing loss, with those who need doesn't sign but they're deaf themselves. And then we also provide ASL interpreters. With ASL interpreters, that ranges from being able to sign ASL. Also, we have interpreters that sign English for those who prefer English based at a sign language preference. We have deaf interpreters. And what a deaf interpreter is, we bring that to the table for those who don't have ASL as their primary language, mainly the new Americans that come in and be able to actually meet that aspect to communication where we bring in a deaf interpreter. So there will be 4 people in the room when we have a deaf interpreter trying to communicate with the deaf client.
And so you just brought up a really interesting point as we've been going through the pandemic, and we have had a lot of information that has been brought to us, whether it's on the news or on the internet. And ASL has certainly become a fixture on a lot of news broadcasts, which is great. I will say, though, that there are people that are unsure about the difference between signing and closed captioning and English versus ASL. Can you talk just a little bit about that? I think that's something that, as everyone has been seeing, many more people signing in the public lately. It's good for there to be a better understanding of all of the differences.
I was trying to look at this pandemic in the best way possible, maybe take some positivity out of it, and just the awareness, the needs, the accessibility for the deaf hard of hearing community had just exploded as much as possible in a great way. But it took a pandemic to get to that point. However, with being able to have a picture-in-picture interpretation provided on screen is the best thing we could ask for to begin with, because captioning, yes, it's a great tool. But a lot of the people don't realize captioning on news media, sports news, anything you can see is reliant on auditory detected captioning. It's live captioning, so it's not 100% accurate. So the deaf community is using the captioning option feature is getting the wrong information, or they're not 100% accurate, especially for those who have dialect accent and it's not recognized. Even myself as a deaf person, I don't speak fluent English, and captioning would not recognize is that word I'm saying myself. So we try to explain captioning is not 100% effective for everyone. And on top of ASL, it's a lot of the deaf community's primary language. So it is like you learning English and now you're learning a different language and utilizing that as your captioning device, where you may understand it, but not 100%. So ASL is where we're saying that's our primary native language we prefer to use first. And having an interpreter there and the captioning to supplement it, it's awesome. It benefits really not just the deaf community, but the hard of hearing, even the hearing community as well. Because if you overlook something, captioning there, but at the same time, the deaf community has the interpreter there as well. So it's a win-win for everyone, really.
That's right. Often information is coming out very quickly, especially in terms of emergency information or health information. So seeing the closed captioning is certainly a benefit to everyone that is able to watch and get the information. Thank you so much for explaining the difference for us, because not a lot of people know that there is a big difference. And as far as working with DAS, what are the current projects you're working on that you'd like our audience to know about?
Well, one of the biggest projects currently working on is this upcoming Monday, we're having our first annual flag raising ceremony. for the deaf community because it is Deaf Awareness Week. And we were able to get universal international deaf flag that is recognized in the deaf community and be able to raise it in the city hall. So with that, we're inviting community members, deaf, hearing, hard of hearing, everybody to come and just be able to show their support and learn a little bit about the deaf and hard of hearing community as much as possible. Because Deaf Awareness Week, it's not just for the deaf community. It's for you guys as well who can learn a little bit about us, how to approach us, how to communicate with us. And really, we're just like everyone else, except for one thing, we can't hear. And really, we are capable of achieving things in life. So that's why Deaf Awareness Week is out there to show what we are capable of doing.
That's fantastic. And if anyone in our audience is looking for information about DAS or any of the programs they're working on or advocacy services, how can they contact you?
They would be able to contact us. All of our information is on the website. It's www.wnYDAS.org. And they can also email us with communications@wnYDAS.org. We'll be happy to provide any resource, support, accommodation, anything you need to have. Or if you're not sure what kind of accommodation is needed for the deaf person, we're there for you.
That's fantastic. David, thank you so much for talking with us today. And the information that you just shared, we'll put that in the notes in the podcast. And thank you so much for speaking with us today. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned has been brought to you by Disability Rights New York, your source for disability rights and advocacy. If you enjoyed our program, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this post. If there is a subject you would like us to discuss, please email podcast@drny.org or comment below. Tune in next Wednesday, where we'll bring you more information on disability rights in the state of New York. The closed captioned and ASL version of this podcast is available on our YouTube channel. To listen to more Empire State of Rights Closed Captioned, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.